Yaza, the most senior of the Watchers, who would manage the angelic host on Earth and ensure that God's intentions were fulfilled and that his rules were not broken. It was not long before Semyaza's resolve was diminished, as was his fear of God, and in its place came the same overwhelming hunger for the mortal women. Altogether, against better judgment, they descended upon the mortal women and took them for wives, impregnated them with their seed, and shared with them the secrets of heaven. And it was Azazel, a high-ranking watcher, who went a step further and taught the men of mankind how to fight, taught them how to make weapons, and taught them to wage war on each other. Magic was disseminated from the lips of the Watchers, as was the forbidden knowledge of the heavens and the untold wisdom of the angels. With such an intervention, the world turned to chaos. Wars were waged, rapes were committed, and the appetite of the Watchers overthrew the societal balance that mankind had so carefully cultivated. But this was only the beginning. From the wombs of the women taken by the Watchers burst forth violent, hideous, giant beings, those that were ravenous and insatiable. They were bulbous creatures with mismatched eyes and angry snarls. Their bodies were heavy-set, muscular, some with arms as big as logs and legs as firm as trunks. They were cold to hold, yet none could deny the fire inside. Hateful, chaotic, evil. Quickly did they grow, with appetites that knew no bounds. They ate the harvest first, then the grass, then the trees, then the forest itself, picking the landscape clean as they fed and fed and fed. And when the landscape was done, they turned to the birds, the cattle, the fish, and even the wild beasts, emptying the land of life so that they might fill their bellies instead. And when the animals were all but vanquished, they turned to mankind itself, snatching them up like snacks on a platter and devouring them without a second thought. And when the giants ran out of humans for which to terrorize and feast on, they turned on each other, cannibalizing one another. In a matter of weeks, the humans were scattered, their homes destroyed, and their lives ruined. The giants had quickly established dominance upon the earth, but with nothing left to consume and nothing left to lay waste to, some began to develop what could only be described as a conscience. They formed packs of reasonably calm companionship, not unlike the camps formed by the mortal men, long before civilization, tribes if you will, a band of allies knit together in the face of earthly desolation. It was in one particular group that the giants began to exhibit some rather human tendencies, where each member began to experience a strange array of emotions: doubt, guilt, regret, fear, feelings that were otherwise alien to such violent monsters, and feelings that they could not possibly understand. They became troubled by visions, plagued by images in their sleep, and haunted by the prospect that something wasn't quite right. For one giant, known simply as Mawe, these dreams and visions were particularly intense. "Brothers," he declared one night by the campfire, "we've all been troubled by the things we've seen behind our own eyes, but I fear I've seen something that warrants our concern." "What is it?" they asked, sharing his concern. "I saw myself with a stone tablet that I'd immersed in water, but when I retrieved it, 4 names were etched into its surface." "What names?" they asked, gripped by his story. "I did not recognize them," Mawe sighed as he listed off their names: Noah, Shem, Japheth, Ham. The giants looked to each other, hoping at least one amongst them had the answers, but like Mawe, they too could not recall such names. "Do you think it is a bad omen for us?" they asked, sheepishly for once, a sight that none of them were used to seeing in each other. Mawe lowered his head. "I think it's so." Another giant made himself known as he stood before the fire, and with his rise, the others seemed to shy away. For he was named Oya, and along with his brother Haya, they were the sons of the Watcher Semyaza, the angel who had led their fathers down to earth. Who told you how to interpret this dream? Oya shot at Marwe. There was an uncomfortable pause before Marwe stood up. It was my father, Barakel. Oya snarled at that, his twin brother lurking behind him, just as bitter. At least Barakel had the decency to check up on his offspring. Many of the other angels, including Oya and Haya's father, had fled the moment they sprang forth from their mothers. All nonsense, Oya barked at them, his brother Haya echoing his sentiment. You dream of tablets with names appearing and disappearing. I dreamt of a virgin woman who gave birth to a son. Such wonders we have all seen in our dreams, yet in the end, it means nothing. Nothing. Haya sidled up beside his brother, as if it needed saying twice. But we have seen our